What if your novel isn't good enough? I think that's a question a lot of writers ask themselves, and it's a very scary question to think about because you've spent so much time on a project and you put your heart and your soul into it, and your mind is kind of warped into like a very singular kind of thinking. All you know is that you worked really hard on your project and you're proud of it and you're proud of the work that you've done, but at the end of the day, how are you going to know if it's actually good enough for you and for your readers? And sometimes books aren't good enough. Sometimes books are not great. Sometimes they don't have great characters or story, and the reader just like puts it down immediately because they don't really understand anything about it. And I've thought about like what makes a book not good, because I am scared about what if my book isn't good enough. What if that's the book? What if my book is the book that someone opens it and they're like, this is boring, closes it, and then puts it back on the shelf. Like, how do I make sure that that isn't my book? And the truth is, you might write a book like that. You might write a book that isn't good enough for you, isn't good enough for your readers or your audience, and you're going to have to deal with that in your own way. But if your novel isn't good enough, you're just going to have to move on. You're going to have to move on the next thing to the next project and learn from your mistakes. The truth is, you will never write a book that is good enough. Art will never be good enough. You can only keep improving. There's never going to be a perfect book, and you will never write the perfect book. So all that you can do is focus on doing the best with your current project, focus on writing the best, on editing the best that you can, getting it out to as many people to read, to give you feedback, and just make sure that you know yourself that you did the best to make sure that this book was the best that it could be. And there's nothing else you can really do about it. And if it's not a good book, the best thing you can do with it is to read through it and see what was so bad about this book. Because in writing, the most important thing that you can do is learn mistakes and make mistakes and just correct yourself all the time, because that's how you learn how to write. That's how you learn to become better. And your first book might not be very good. I know that mine wasn't. I haven't shown it. I've only shown it to my two of my sisters, and haven't showed it to anyone else. I don't think I'm even going to edit it very much because I know that it's just horrible. My first book was horrible, and I'm never going to publish it, I don't think. And that just might be the reality of your first book, but that's totally fine because it's a learning experience for you, and it's an opportunity for you to grow as a writer. I've read several authors' books where one book that they wrote was my favorite book ever, then another book that they wrote, a few years before or later was like one of my least favorite books, and it was like very confusing to me. But that just goes to show that even someone who you look up to and respect as a writer can also write stuff that's complete garbage. So you just need to remember that nobody writes perfectly, and all you can do is your best. And if you do your best, then you can feel good about your work, even if it isn't the greatest. This is definitely a very personal fear of mine because I have started and stopped so many projects because I was afraid of what people would think of them and how I would actually accomplish them. And every now and again during my writing sessions, I would stop and think, well, what if this book isn't good enough? Like, what if the book that I'm working on is like, I've taken months and months to work on it and edit it, and I'm really attached to all these characters and stuff, but then whenever I finished it and like I go back a few months later after spending so much time on this project and realize like the story like fundamentally doesn't work, the characters don't work, like what will I do? And I know what I'll have to do. I will have to accept that I am not the greatest writer right now, and I will need to understand that this is just a learning experience, and learning experiences are the most important thing in writing. Don't feel discouraged if you've written something before that was pretty horrible, or if you're writing something and you don't know if it will be good enough. If you're not sure if something's going to be good enough, just have other people read it. That's the best thing to do if you're not sure if something is good. Just have a bunch of people read it before you like publish it. Hopefully this all makes sense. This is something very close to me and to my writing, so I don't know, this is kind of like a rambling kind of thing, but it's really important to me, and I really want to encourage other writers that are afraid and feel like this whenever they're reading their favorite books and thinking, wow, I will never achieve this, I will never write like this, I can never write like this. Just keep practicing, keep writing, and eventually you will write something that you like. I know sometimes there are months where you just, like every single thing that you write you just hate, and you think it's horrible, and you think that nobody will like it, but you need to get through that because everyone goes through those phases. But as long as you are writing, you are working, and you are improving, and you are actually working towards the next book that you will write that will be amazing. So I hope this was helpful for you guys who are struggling with this kind of fear. I know I am, so yeah, I don't know if anyone else does, but like whenever I am reading or like getting new books to read and thinking, wow, these books are so successful, I will never be like this. This fear kind of comes into my mind, so I kind of wanted to just like discuss it a little bit, you know, talk it over. If anyone else has this fear, please share in the comments below what exactly it is and like how you deal with it, because I'm working through it right now in NaNoWriMo with writing a book that is not very good right now, that I'm just like trying to get the first draft out, and that's the most important thing right now, and later I can worry about if it's good or not. But yeah, if this was helpful for you, don't forget to like it and comment down below if you have any experiences like this. Hopefully this was inspiring to you if you're having, you know, writer's block or whatever. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe, because I post everything like about stories and writing and movies and video games. Anything that has to do with story or characters, I'm basically gonna do a video on it. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe. I upload every Sunday and Wednesday. So yeah, I'll see you later. Bye!